Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services, the video on daily news and editorial analysis, which I'll be covering from the Hindu and the Indian Express, the important news and editorial that would be relevant for the preparation of civil services examination will be discussed in this session. Let's get started with the news topic list. Today is 27th of June. The first important news, that is Center approve special assistance to state. This is to ensure that the part of assistance that is given to the state would help in the implementation. Second, Center extend deadline to apply for the high PF pension. There was a lot of debate, and even after the intervention of the Supreme Court, finally the higher PF will be allowed to the individual. Third, that is Sri Lanka to restructure its domestic debt. We have seen that Sri Lanka is witnessing the worst economic crisis since its independence, and the restructuring part is essentially a mandate. Fourth, high-level meeting in Manipur violence. We have seen the ethnic violence ongoing between the Kukis and Meiteis are still continues. The Prime Minister has reviewed the meeting. The second last, that is laying the foundations for a future-ready digital India. Apart from the news and editorial discussion, at the end of this video, there will be MCQ-based questions. These questions will be based on current affairs that will help you for the upcoming prelims examination. So without any further ado, let's get started. And before I begin this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful, do press a like button. So starting this session with the first news, that is Center approves special assistance to states. Something important for General Studies Paper 2, that is the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from its design and implementations. So a recent meeting and even in the recent decision by the Department of Expenditure, which works under the Ministry of Finance, they have recently approved the capital investment proposal totaling amount of 56,415, that is 56,415 crore rupees in 16 states for this current financial year, right? And this approval has been given by a scheme which is named as, this is entitled as Special Assistance to the State for Capital Investment in 2022 and 23. So this is the financial year upon which the allocation has been made. Now, बात करें इस scheme की, which has been announced in the budget for 2022 and 23 in continuation with the similar push for the capex in the last 3 years, right? So the beneficiary states, I'll give you the name और किस states को कितने ज़्यादा allocations हुए, we'll see the detail about that as well. So these are the list of the beneficiary state. Among the highest, the part goes to Bihar, followed by Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal, Rajasthan, Odisha, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, then Gujarat. Then we have states like Chhattisgarh, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Sikkim, and Goa. So these are the beneficiary state and these are the amount mentioned. So total of 16 states that are there, I have already given you the complete part. So you can pause this video and read out it. Now, what is the aim of this proposal and the part of the decision that was given by the cabinet? And even to ensure that this is something which is helping the state in building up their capex. So the approval aimed at boosting the part of capital expenditure by the state government, और ये recognize करेगी वहाँ की potential को, ताकि एक multiplier effect के साथ जो state की economy है वो grow कर पाए. So this will invariably call for doubling the part of the speed and even call for a multiplier effect in the economy. Now, under this initiative, the state are provided with the interest-free loan. इसमें जो loan होगी वो completely interest-free होगी for a duration of 50 years and the amounting of total sum of 1.3 trillion for the fiscal year. So this is something relevant for your prelims examination also. They can ask you about the details. Now, sectors approval की बात करें, कौन-कौन से ऐसे sectors हैं जिनमें investment allow की गई है? तो Ministry of Finance has said that the capital investment project will have a diverse sector. This includes the sectors like health, education, irrigation, water supply, power, road, bridges, and railway. So these are the sectors upon which the investment can be made from the central government capital expenditure, and the state will be empowered to do so. Now the funds making the part of schemes like Jal Jeevan Mission, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana has been provided states under through this scheme to enhance the part of project to the sector schemes. Now, इस स्कीम के अंदर कुछ several parts रखे गए हैं and these are divided into several parts. I'll be telling one by one what are the part of this, the segregations that is there. So the scheme comprises of several parts. Part 1 is being like the largest, receiving 1 trillion. और इसमें distributions जो होंगी, distributions among the state is based on their respective share of centers, basically जो taxes collect होती हैं, taxes and duties, which is actually been fixed and determined by the 15th Finance Commission. तो जो recommendations, जो guideline है 15th Finance Commission की, उसके accordingly ही सारी चीजें government ये करती है. Other component of the scheme are the kind of either linked to the reform or target specific in the various projects. So this is part 1. There are several parts to it. Part 2, that the scheme has set aside 3,000 crore rupees for offering incentives to the state for scrapping the state government vehicles and ambulances, waiving the liabilities related to old vehicles. Because अभी government ने recently green tax की भी बात की है, right? So you must be aware about the green tax, which is on the older tax, or which is the vehicle which is older than 10 years, right? So providing a tax concessions to the individual on disposing the old vehicle, establishing the automated vehicle testing facilities. This is part 2. Now talking about part 3 and part 4, focusing on incentivizing the state for urban reform and urban finance. Allocations of 15,000 crore rupees and an additional 5,000 crore rupees has been provided. Now there are other part 5, 6 and 7. The part 5 call for a scheme for enhancing the housing facilities of the police personnel and their families with the urban police stations within allocations of 2,000 crore rupees. Part 6 है that aims to promote national integrations, जहाँ पे मेक इन इंडिया के कॉन्सेप्ट्स के थ्रू यूनिटी मॉल्स बनाने की बात की गई है with 500 crore rupees will be embarked. And part 7, that the scheme called for 5,000 crore rupees providing the financial assistance to states for establishing libraries, digital infrastructures at panchayat level and catering specific requirement for the child and adolescents. Now moving to the other news, that is center extend deadline to apply for IFPF pensions. Something important for general studies paper 2, that is the welfare schemes for the vulnerable section of the population and the center. And this is also important for the same paper in general studies. The topic is government policies and intervention. So दोनों topics of syllabus में ये आपके लिए important. Now, the Labour Ministry and the Employment Provident Fund Organization, better known as EPF, it's a world largest social security organization. उन्होंने decide किया है that they will be extending that deadline for higher pensions to July 1st, 2023. Why? Because Supreme Court has intervened on this matter and asked the concerned department to go for a higher pension benefits. The current deadline was set to expire on 26th June. And the employer who need to verify the wage details has been granted another 3 months to complete the process, right? Or representatives की अगर बात करें of both employees and employers, the employers and employees are requested by, they have actually requested union government कि ये जो extensions हैं उसके deadline को बढ़ाने की ज़रूरत है because the empanelment and the part of grievances that is there is still pending. So they have requested to extend it further. Now, this extension is a third time extension that was given on the part of the higher pension. The lookout will be there from an individual, and if they require, they can opt for it. Now, present provisions की अगर बात करें, what is the present provision? How does the EPFO provide pensions? तो बात करें अगर जो present provision है currently 8.33% of your provident fund, that is known as EPF, right? जो contributions होती है employer की तरफ से is directed to the EPS, और जो EPS Act है 1995 उसको regulations करती है. This is actually under this act, right? So the basic salary which is considered as calculation is 15,000. तो एक statutory limit रखी गई है 15,000 की. उसमें जो contributions हैं 8.33%, which is approximately part of 1250 is going to the EPS. Total contributions 12% की होती है, and the rest 3.67%, almost close to that, will actually be going to the 27% is going to the part of the fund, that is EPF, right? तो ये सारी चीजें हैं will be directed, and if the employees opt for the contributions on the actual basis, the component of their pension is likely to be much higher. and employees eligible to draw the pensions completing at least 10 year of services. इसके लिए minimum 10 year of services एक mandate. Now, who will be eligible for EPS, that is employee pension schemes? So the scheme, like if you see the part of the employees who are the member of EPS and EPF from 1st September 2014 can remain for this, and the employees who retired before 2014 and previously had to opt for higher pension, and but applications were rejected by the EPF authorities. Now we'll see that whether they will be allowing. Definitely they have to allow, because there's a directions and guideline by the Supreme Court. Now, calculating the higher pension for those who retire before September 2014 is calculated on the average basis, that is the contributions made by the part of the 12 months that is presiding for the membership. And those who retire the first September, this is what I have told you. Now I'll show you an infograph that will help you to understand things better. So this is an infograph where you can take this screenshot also. So this is what you can claim. The total amount is this much. Higher contributions can be there, right? So those who retire before 2014, 1st of April, can opt for the higher pension. But what is the hurdle why government has extended? See, limited access to past wages, less data is not there. There's no clarity on the amount to be diverted from EPF to meet any shortfall, and no options to withdrawal of the dissatisfactions with the EPF for decision, right? So these are some of the procedural hassles and the part of the implementation that is creating problem in file and implementations. Sri Lanka to restructure its domestic debt. We have seen the worst economic crisis ongoing in Sri Lanka. Since their independence, this is something, the worst situation has arisen. India already has helped country of Sri Lanka with like financially and many other benefits was given. So this is important for General Studies paper 2, that is the effect of policies and politics for developed and developing countries. And even it is important for the same paper, and the topic will be India and its neighborhood relations. Now, in a major move to restructure the government domestic debt, this is about the Sri Lankan government. The Sri Lankan authorities has said they have decided a 5-day closures of the financial market, which aims to restructure the part of domestic debt, which is mounting more than $51 billion, which is a huge amount. So restructuring the effect will definitely have an impact on the government bond. IMF के बाद जो उन्होंने बेल आउट ली थी मार्च में, उसके भी बेसिकली जो पॉसिबिलिटीज हैं वो भी एक्सप्लोर किए जाएंगे. एंड श्रीलंका डिफॉल्टेड ऑन इट्स फॉरेन डेट, दैट इज ऑन अप्रैल लास्ट ईयर डिक्लेयर बैंक्रप्सी. Worst economic crisis since their independence, right? And the government subsequently has entered into an agreement with International Monetary Fund, secured 3 billion packages while agreeing to restructuring the part of the foreign domestic debt, and the fund estimated to be around 41 billion and 42 billion respectively from March 2023. You can see the change. I mean, this is a part for the some of the items like petrol 92 octane, diesel, super diesel, and kerosene, because the entire part of the transportation of the food item take place with this fuel, which ultimately call for a higher inflation. So you can see the steep height. I mean, the surge is completely visible. Now, longer time frame, the president of Sri Lanka and the Sri Lankan debt restructuring program was presented to cabinet, and they said that Sri Lanka was looking to obtain the longer time frame to repay its loan. See, if the fund is not there, they'll not be able to make the payment, and even the part of debt which is already there, there's no kind of revenue generation. The Sri Lanka has been witnessing shortfall in the tourism also. Impact on saving की अगर बात करें, restructuring of domestic debt could mean that there is an extension for the tenor and maturity rate, and even the coupon adjustment or a haircut. So there will be this part of depreciation will be there. The value of the people's saving has gone tremendously. Domestic lenders and haircut could adversely impact elderly, but the impact benefiting such as employment provident fund, trust fund, and pensions will be definitely impacted. Now, high-level meeting in for basically Manipur violence. It's important for General Studies paper 2. That's the government policies and intervention for the development of various sectors and issues arising from a design and implementations. So we have seen the situation of the Manipur continue for more than 2 months, and situation is not good over there. There's ethnic clashes between the Metis and Kukis. They are still going. In light of that, when Prime Minister just returned from the US visit, he has chaired a high-level meeting. So the meeting called for the part of the distribution of essential items like petrol, cooking gas in the Manipur, because see what has happened that the complete blockage is there. I have recently made a discussion to this news जहाँ पे मैंने आपको बताया था कि वहाँ के जो फोर्सेज हैं उनके लिए भी खास करके बहुत सारे ऐसे फोर्सेज हैं जो वहाँ पे डिप्लॉयड हैं, आसाम राइफल्स आदि है, तो उनके लिए भी नॉर्मलसी, उनके लिए भी जो फूड आइटम्स है वो भी डिलीवर नहीं हो पा रहे बिकॉज रोड हैज़ बीन ब्लॉक. तो गवर्नमेंट की कोशिश है कि वहाँ पे नॉर्मलसी को रिटर्न किया जाए एंड इवन द एथनिक वायलेंस शुड स्टॉप. The center will also see the essential commodities available to the people of the Manipur and the directions to ensure that supplies reach out to the Manipur as a part of step being taken to restore peace in the state where ethnic clashes erupted in May. So this is almost close to 2 months. So the meeting was followed by an all-party meeting convened for the union part of the Home Minister to discuss the ground situations and even what best possible the steps need to be taken will be there. If it is a failure of the government, definitely union government will change the chief minister also. Now, whether is it the part of the governance failure, this has to be examined by the senior ministers, cabinet, and the union cabinet will decide what to do, right? So this is what they have actually said. Now, the government is taking all kind of measures to restore normalcy. And if the changing part is there, the periphery areas of civil unrest in the valley will be taken as a matter of concern for the government. Now, moving to the editorial of the day, that is laying the foundation of the future ready digital India. We'll see this editorial and the part that is important aspects of governance, transparency, accountability, and e-governance. So what I'll be discussing under this editorial, first is a theme, that is the roadmap for digital India ready, the challenges at the present, the global practices which is there, focus on the area for India and the way forward. Now, you must be aware of the fact that the Ministry of Electronic and IT has come up with a new bill, and this bill is known as Digital India Bill to build the conceptual alignment of the new law that will replace India 2023-year-old IT Act, right? So this was there. Now the goal is to upgrade the part of the current legal regime to tackle the emergency challenges and such as harm, competitions, misinformation that is there in the digital space. तो उसको खत्म करने के लिए और एक proper regulations के लिए गवर्नमेंट ने Digital India Bill लाया. Now, this is much anticipated that the piece of legislation is likely to redefine the controls how technology is regulated, and not just in India but globally also. तो कुछ प्रेजेंट कंटेक्स्ट की अगर बात करें, द आईटी डिफाइंस इंटरमीडियरीज, राइट, और इस इंटरमीडियरीज में आईटी रूल में कुछ सब सेक्शंस क्लासिफाई की गई हैं दैट विच आर द मेन कैटेगरीज. द फर्स्ट विल बी द सोशल मीडिया इंटरमीडियरीज, सेकंड विल बी सिग्निफिकेंट सोशल मीडिया इंटरमीडियरीज, उसके अलावा ऑनलाइन गेमिंग इंटरमीडियरीज. दिस इज द न्यू वन दैट हैज बीन एडेड इन द लिस्ट, राइट. सो एसएमआईज की अगर बात करें, सोशल मीडिया इंटरमीडियरीज की, दे हैव अ प्लेटफॉर्म to facilitate communication sharing informations between users, SMIs, and has a very large base as a designated SSMIs. Now, considering this fact, अगर बात करें कुछ important platforms की like Microsoft Teams, customer management solutions like Zoho, तो ये इनको virtual license मिलती है, and these intermediaries have a close user base and the present lower risk to harm for the giving information that is going to be viral. तो इन इंटरमीडियरीज को कन्वेंशनल तरीके से भी ट्रीट करना क्या वाकई में सही होगा, बिकॉज दिस विल बी इम्पैक्टिंग अ लॉट मेनी बिजनेस विद अ ग्रेटर लाइबिलिटी विदाउट मीनिंगफुल रिड्यूसिंग द रिस्क ऑफ द प्रेजेंट बाय द इंटरनेट. कुछ ग्लोबल प्रैक्टिसेस की अगर बात करें, हाउ थिंग्स आर वर्किंग ग्लोबली, तो प्रेजेंटली कुछ लिमिटेड कंट्रीज हैं जिनके क्लियर कट पोजिशंस हैं ऑन द पार्ट ऑफ द रेगुलेशन ऑफ इंटरमीडियरीज. So among that, European Union has recently come up with some fine also to Meta for the part of the violations. तो Digital Services Act के थ्रू ये रेगुलेट होती हैं. उसके अलावा कुछ और कंट्रीज हैं, इवन यूरोपियन यूनियन ने भी इंट्रोड्यूस किया है हॉस्टिंग सर्विसेज, ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म एंड वेरी लार्ज ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म विद इंक्रीजिंग लीगल ऑब्लिगेशंस. तो जो भी कंट्रीज यहाँ ऑपरेट करेंगी, दे हैव टू मैंडेट द पार्ट ऑफ लीगल ऑब्लिगेशंस. Now, Australia has created eightfold clarification system with separate industries drafted code, जो कि separately होंगी social media के लिए, search engines, and intermediaries are required to conduct the risk assessment based on their potential form of exposures, चाहे वो content child sexual abuse से related हो, terrorism से related हो, everything will be filtered out, and the part of the intermediary who is involved will be directly responsible for any mishap. ना फोकस एरिया अगर इंडिया की बात करें, इंडिया को किस चीज़ों में फोकस करने की जरूरत है? डेफिनेटली द नीड ऑफ द आर इज टू हैव अ फ्रेमवर्क दैट क्रिएट अ वेल डिफाइंड कैटेगरीज. जो रिक्वायर्ड इंटरमीडियरीज हैं उनके लिए क्या क्या रिस्क असेसमेंट है उसे देखने की जरूरत है, एंड द इंफॉर्मेशंस टू बकेट द पार्ट ऑफ द रेलिवेंट कैटेगरीज. As far as possible, the goal should be minimize the obligations and intermediaries that should ensure regulatory and proportionate ability to the size. On the way, this would also exempt micro small enterprises and the part of the conducive services which is there as a major obligations. The largest communication platform, जैसे Twitter की example आप ले सकते हैं, could be then required to adhere to the special obligations such as appointing Indian based officer because this is a rule that has been mandated. तो एक इंडियन ऑफिसर और इंडियन ऑरिजिन को ही उन्हें अपॉइंट करना होगा एज अ ग्रीवांस ऑफिसर, एंड देयर विल बी अ ग्रीवांस appellate mechanism. So once the things are growing in a size, you have to also address the part of problem that is continuing with the people and the users. Now the way forward, the proposal for the digital media hold out the promise not only to upgrade the part of current legal regime but also to redefine the contours of how technology is regulated. For the proposed approach, it is effective. The metrics for the risk assessment and appropriate threshold will be taken into consideration, and the vision of future must have a holistic the part of the development for all sectors that call for economic, societal, so that the overall human development and the part of quality life should be improved in the country. See, technology can transform the life, and even the proper rules can help the companies to regulate. So we have to maintain a fine balance where the companies are also adhering and working under the boundary line of the law of the land. That is essential. तो रिसेंट में आपने ट्विटर्स को लेकर के काफ़ी इश्यूज भी सुने होंगे जहाँ पे there was some the part of the grill which was there for Twitter and BBC that they are not following the Indian rules and regulations. Now moving ahead with the MCQ questions of the day, before I proceed, just to tell you the answers of yesterday questions. For first question, the correct option is C. For second question, the correct option is B. Today's MCQ for practice, आपको OceanSat satellite के बारे में बताना. It's an Earth observatory satellite built, launched and operated by Indian Research Space Organization. The OceanSat satellite facilitates the range of applications including the documenting chlorophyll concentration, phytoplanktons, and so check out for the correct option. Second question of the day is about the ILO, international organizations है, 1990 में create हुई थी by the Treaty of Versailles. It releases social dialogue report. तो आपको check करना है. I think you must have come across this question before also, but this is just to check whether you have learned from your past mistake or not. So this was all about for the daily news and editorial analysis followed by the MCQ questions. If you have any queries about courses, studies, material and admissions, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.